What's up, everybody? Welcome to a question and answer session. We're live on Instagram over here, and we're live on YouTube over here. We're going to be answering your questions for probably like the next hour or so. Wallace will be joining us shortly when he gets back in. I see Jarvis is joining us on Instagram. If you guys are on YouTube, go ahead and send us a message. Let us know you're here. If you guys have any questions regarding fishing, high fish gear, any of our products, we're here to answer. I figured, Saturday's the day that we're all work together, make it nice and fun, and we had a good time last time doing the live chat. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and take your questions. So if you guys got them, go ahead and shoot them. In case you're just stumbling upon this video on YouTube or wherever, we are High Fish Gear. We are a tackle shop in Eva Beach, and we're also a website, highfishgear.com. We offer Hawaii-made products, Hawaii popular products, and a lot of regular tackle that everybody uses. highfishgear.com. How you been, Jesse?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, the fishing been pretty good. School.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jesse's in school right now, and he works for us on the weekends. Totoro says she'll be in tomorrow to pick up your gear. Gotcha. We'll relay that message. We are doing auctions today. If you haven't already joined our Facebook page, High Fish Gear Deals. On Facebook, it's a group. It's the only way we're able to do live auctions is in a Facebook group. It allows us a little bit of control in regards to who's bidding on things. And if you got anything you want to sell, check out the auctions. Bring your stuff in before next week Saturday. Saturdays are the day that we do used stuff. We got some pretty fun stuff today. We got some knives, and we also have some used tackle. All right. If you guys got questions, go ahead and shoot them. We're ready to answer some questions. And I guess I'll start with one that somebody asked a while back that I never got a chance to reply to. Somebody asked, why do Big Island Ulua fishermen take the tip of their Ulua poles off? He said he was over there recently, and he saw a lot of the Ulua fishermen that fish off the cliffs have cut down their Ulua poles to a shorter length and put another tip on it. And the answer to that question is because they're not really in need of a casting Ulua pole. They're more in need of just a big, heavy-duty pole that can handle a fish when you're pulling it up a cliff. And they don't need that extra flex for casting. They just want basically a big piece of rebar that they can bust off the pole. So a lot of the rods off the shelf aren't made that way, so they customize off the shelf rod by removing about maybe 6-7 inches. It changes it from like a medium heavy to more like a heavy, or a heavy to an extra heavy. So that's the reason why they cut off the tips of their rods. And here's Wallace. Wallace was planning on joining us. We were a little bit busy right now. He was helping a customer select some fly materials. Okay. Suggestion on leader line when using flies for Papio. We'll go ahead and start with you, Jesse.
Okay, so if you're only going for Papios with a chance of like Ulua, you should be fine with anywhere from 20 to 25 pound test fluorocarbon. You can go 30 if you're really in that rocky area or that tough spot, if you need to really winch that fish out. But I usually go 20 on my lighter setups.
Flies, leader?
I'm a mono guy.
He is a mono guy. What pound test monofilament are you using for flies?
Papio flies, anywhere between 15 and 25. Most of the time it's 20.
Okay. 20 is my standard when I'm using a fly. It's just, 20 pound test fluorocarbon. Somebody says, what's your guys' favorite fish to eat? We answered that one last time, right? Yeah, we did. Uku.
Oh, I forgot.
You forgot already?
Yeah.
Favorite fish to eat?
I'm a reds guy. I love moi, but I can't catch them. So
If you're talking ones you're not going to catch, I love flounder. Flounder is freaking delicious.
Nabeta is also awesome.
Nabeta is ono. But if I had a choice between any fish, I'd always go for uku every time. All right. Best Hawaii Levias says Moy. Best color grub for rainy, cloudy weather whipping. I like a dark grub, and my go-to is the Campanulars abalone.
Probably have to say the same thing, or maybe that AMX black that they have, because that has the UV flakes inside.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wallace.
Yep, black. If it has UV, even better. But even a solid black, the Hawaiian Angler black, does the job.
Yeah. So grub for cloudy days, mostly because you're not gonna have a whole lot of clarity in the water if the water's a little bit, even if it's clean. If there's no sun over top, it's gonna make that water kind of seem a little bit murky. So a darker grub adds more contrast in that darker water, and you're gonna wind up getting more action with the darker grub on cloudy days. Even if murky water, when the clarity is low, you're gonna want to shoot for a darker grub. Okay. Wendo asks who wraps one piece poles right now. If there is anybody that wraps rods, whether you just do it for yourself or whether you've done it for other people, and you want to make a good chunk of change, put your name out there, because there are people that are always asking for rod wrappers. It's a very, very low supply on rod wrappers right now. So get your name out there. Send me a DM or send me an email, sales@highfishgear. People like Wendo are asking. They're looking for people to wrap rods. Now's the time. If you guys want to get into rod wrappers, there's a lot of people asking for to wrap rods. Get your name out there. Even if you're just starting off, do some performance wraps. Nothing special, nothing fancy. A lot of people are just looking for somebody, because it requires a little bit of a skill level. It's not something you can just go and start doing yourself, because you got to buy a whole lot of gear. You got to buy the resin. You got to buy an assortment of eyes. You got to buy a whole bunch of stuff. But also, it's another thing you might want to get into yourself if you're into custom rods. A lot of people do kind of branch into wrapping your own rods. It's not like rocket science, but it's not easy either, you know? All right. Hopefully that answers your question, Wendell. My answer to your question is I don't know. We had a couple guys, but I don't know. They wasn't making enough money, or other jobs took precedence, and then they wound up just kind of disappearing. Okay, back to the fly question. You just whip it like regular grubs on a bubble bobber. When you're whipping flies, it kind of requires you to have a little bit of play in there. You got to do something with the rod. The fly is just dead. It doesn't really do anything unless it specifically has some sort of like a Hanapop popper has a little popper head. Will give it a little bit of action, but you've got to do a little bit of jigging with it. You got to move the rod yourself, because otherwise, like I said, that fly is just flying. What style do you use for retrieve when you're casting flies?
Casting flies, I usually do like a little pop, just to get that bubble moving, and that fly has kind of like a dart action for it. Or some of your flies, if you use Rapala knot, it'll have a little like flutter to it. But most of the time, it's just just pop slowly, fast. Or you could work it like a grub where you just straight retrieve. I mean, the bubble will have the splash, but that should be enough to attract a fish where they'll see your fly in the back.
Yeah, with a curly tail or a lot of soft baits, you have that flutter because of the way that the soft bait is made. With a fly, a lot of times the only thing you're going to get is if there's a little bit of springiness in the fly, meaning that it's kind of on the bushy side, you'll get a little bit of a decrease in a spring back. But other than that, you're just basically dragging a fly along, and it doesn't really have a whole lot of play. So you're going to have to add some of it.
Yeah,
okay.
Like Jordan said, the synthetic materials, they don't have as much action as the natural like bucktails and stuff. So that flashable will usually stay still, but if you have that bucktail, it actually shape your fly better, and it'll have like a little bit more wiggle to it.
Okay, Joe808 says, thoughts on the Penn Authority, and will you be getting them in? I don't know. Probably not. To us, when we checked out the specs were very similar to the Slammer. and it just seemed like they were just trying to add a high-end reel with not a whole lot of extra to it. So we kind of, unless our distributor plans on stocking it full-time, we're not going to special order any. We're probably not going to bring them in. There are shops that already have them. If you guys want to definitely go check them out, but I personally don't think that they're worth the additional cost. They're supposed to be along the same lines as a Stella or a Daiwa Saltis, but I don't know. Penn has not been known for their finesse reels. If you've ever picked up a slammer versus, say, for instance, a twin power, night and day. Somebody just asked us about the Penn Authority again.
Not worth it.
All right, so Wallace says it's not worth it. I mean, I know some of you guys are kind of pen guys, and you might want us to bring it in. Send me a DM. If they become available, we might check them out, but we don't have any plans to bring them in. I'm not really excited about it. Sorry.
For the money, I would just buy a freshwater twin power. What are they on now? The FD, or even the XD, or a freshwater Stella for $100 more.
Yeah. Okay, hey Bill, your bottom fisher's license on a kayak, does it have to be 6 inches? US dumb user. You know what? You gotta check with the licensing. If you already got a BF license, it should already say how big it has to be. I think the same thing applies to a boat. The same thing applies to a kayak, applies to a boat. If you're doing the legit thing where you're registering for a bottom fishing license for your kayak. For whipping, which is better, Penn or Shimano? Wallace?
That's going to be personal preference. I'm a Shimano guy. Smoother. Penn's gotten better with how light their reels are getting. But the two things that always got me is the Penns they seem to last a little longer on the parts that are always changeable. And the spool lip design. The spool lip on Shimano's, the Penns are a little bit more flat. So you hear a lot of people getting wine knots, and they think it has something to do with the way they're casting or their line or something like that. Sometimes it's as simple as the Penn spool is flat, so you'll see a lot more wine knots.
For me, I think the deciding factor between why I use a Shimano for whipping over a Penn for whipping is I've tried Penns. I've had clashes. I've tried their lighter versions, and it just always seems that if you want a saltwater good long-term use reel from a Penn, you've got to go with something like a spin fisher or a slammer. But those are not whipping reels. They're too heavy.
The 3500 spin fisher is kind of at that 5K Stratic weight, and
Yeah.
if I was to buy a Penn for whipping, it would be probably a 2500 or 3500 spin fisher.
On the lighter
I'll
side.
just bypass all the battles and slammers and all that.
You're straight team Shimano, but have you ever used a Penn for whipping?
I've started with the Penns, and then after I started using a Stratic, it was kind of like game over. So most of the Penns are just sitting in their box now.
Which Penn did you go with?
I had the Fears, I had the Battle, the second gens.
Okay.
Trying out the Battle DX, but I still wouldn't use them for just walking down the beach whipping. Maybe for dunking for sure.
Yeah. Oh, Penn reels for dunking.
Yep.
Cherry. Battle 3, 8K, 2 times. That's what I'm using for my dunking lately.
The Daiwa, they have the LT models that are really good.
Yep.
That a lot of people don't pay attention to.
Jay Yamada, thoughts on the twin power?
Which one? There's 3 different ones. FD, XD, SW.
Let's go with the SW.
SW. So the twin power SW is basically the Saragossa body with the Stella spool on top of it. Slight body modifications, so the Stella spools actually will not fit on the Saragossa bodies, but the twin power and the Stellas are the same exact body spool combination, like how the Spiros and the Saragossa is. I mean, if you're basically getting a Stella and a Saragossa combo
All right.
for $300, $400 less.
Yeah, I guess if you were in the market for a Stella twin power, it might be a more budget friendly. Yeah.
Yeah, the Twin Power is a very good budget friendly Stella.
I see that when people aren't necessarily ready for a Stella, it takes a lot to be ready for a Stella. Or if you just got money, if you want the best of the best, go for it. But if you're just really, I'm on a budget, like most people in Hawaii are, Stella is like when you retire kind of stuff. Like I've been fishing for a long time and I want to treat myself, that kind of thing. Somebody asked Keep It Chill People on YouTube asks, what would be a good plugging pole for an 8K Daiwa Saltis? So just for reference, the 8K Daiwa Saltis is about the size of a 10K or 14K Saragossa.
Yep.
Okay, so you're already at a bigger reel. If you wanted to just use that rod for specifically 2 to 3 ounces, you may want to try a Shimano Speedmaster. Either probably a 10-foot medium is rated up to 3 ounces.
I'll probably go medium heavy on the Speedmaster.
Okay.
For that reel, because the mediums are kind of lighter, so it might feel a little bit unbalanced.
So whatever length you feel comfortable with, but when you get into the 12-foot, you're looking at something that's rated up to 5 ounces. And if your target weight for tossing is 2 to 3 ounces, you might want to stick with either the 9 or the 10-foot or even the 10-foot 6 Speedmaster. Definitely check it out. The footing on that's going to be fine. A Daiwa Saltist is the beefier reel, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So definitely check out the Speedmaster.
You can also try the triple cross. Or if you want to spend money, we have the Tiraleo.
Yeah. Eric Murakami says, I still use my Penn SS Gold Series for dunking. Those reels, a lot of them are really made to last for a long time. And we wish they still made them in the USA, but, with competing with China, you got to do what you got to do, and Penn shipped it over to China made. Okay, B-Rad, 2 points of a treble hook. Okay, so you have the treble, you have the bottom hook and the top. He's asking, do you put the top, you treble 3?
Yeah.
Do you line it up that way, or do you line it up with like that way? I would say that way.
A treble hook is basically a single hook that's welded onto a double hook.
Yeah.
The stronger point technically is going to be the double versus the single.
Yeah.
So when I put mine on, I make the weld on the top end, which would put the double hook on the bottom and the single on the top.
Okay. Let me see what Jordan re-answered.
I don't think there's really too much of a...
And the treble hook does count as 3 hooks, so if you're using that in a harbor, it's pretty much illegal.
Yeah. So places like Pokai Bay, Waimea Bay, where you're only allowed to have 2 hooks on your line, you can't use 2 trebles, because that counts as 6 points.
Yeah.
So you can run a single treble.
No, because
No?
some places only allow you to have 2 hooks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a treble has 3 points on it, you're already over. So you'd have to use a double hook or 2 singles.
So, Pokai Bay is what letter code? Is it MMA? Managed Marine Area?
It is considered a regulated
Okay.
area.
So, as we're not going to really talk about it too much today, but Pokai Bay is an example of what Wallace just said is a regulated fishing area, and there are certain rules that apply to Pokai Bay where you can only use 2 points of a hook, which eliminates, you cannot use a treble hook at all. And it's kind of like almost like a harbor area where there's multiple people around and they don't want you snagging people, so they're saying no more than 2 hooks. You guys really got to read our Hawaii regulations to make sure that you're being compliant. Check out what areas are regulated, what areas are managed. Managed areas usually refers to no fishing during certain times, or different seasons and things like that. So definitely not just read the 30 by 30 to find out what it's all about, but also take a look at our current regulations.
Yep.
And take a look at the areas that you may be stumbling into you didn't know were regulated or managed. Definitely pay attention to these things. Okay, 2 point out for the tail. Okay, I don't see too many questions that side. You guys see any other questions?
This looks like Kellaboy 808
Yeah.
as tips for jig head or eel fishing.
You were probably the only one that's
Oh.
done OEO jig heads fishing.
I haven't caught yet.
I'd probably recommend you gotta go with the longer leader, like arm span quarter maybe.
Is that because the fish are mainline shy?
Yeah, they're pretty shy. I noticed when I was using a short leader line, only like 18 inches or so, I wouldn't get as much bites. But now that I switched to a longer leader, I definitely get more hits.
Are you casting the knot through your eyes?
Yeah, I am.
What knot are you using?
I'm using a FG. That's 10-pound braid to 15-pound fluoro.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. It's just that my rod eyes are really small, but a uni would work. Yeah, that would be a good situation.
Uni has a higher profile though.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cast
bigger
those
profile.
eyes on. Oh yeah. I've been using an Albright, but I think I got to switch over to the FG.
I found another knot that might be possible. I sent you the link for that one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's another knot that we're going to be testing.
All right, Hungry Fisherman says, but if the treble is welded together, wouldn't it be one hook total? He's saying points.
Yep.
Points. So how many points are on the hook? When you're casting out a lure, 2 points. No more than 2 points. You see that, Thomas? 2 points.
Every area has its own regulations, what's permitted and what's not permitted. So you need to go online and look at that specific area. Some places allow treble, some places don't.
All
But
right.
they do count the points on a treble as 3.
Red.
What color?
They're beginners.
All right. Falcon Fishing says, how long should you make your leader for whipping flies? Okay, so for me, it's usually arm span,
They don't know what color they want.
and my arm span is about 5
They
feet.
want everything.
Hold on, somebody's asking for every single color of
I'll
our
just show them the website.
flies.
We were trying to show them the website, but they can't see.
There you go.
Monofilament
Right, here we go.
here.
That's everything. Take them on out. Cool. All right. Leader length. For me, it's always been an arm span, but I also measure the rod that I'm using. I measure from the tip of the rod down to the bottom eye, or if my rod has a hook keeper. Everybody has a preference. You do akule fishing, and I know that akule fishing is one of those ones where the guys really prefer a longer leader,
Yeah.
like a ridiculously long leader.
I say if they're just going Papio fly fishing, usually like everybody get different arm span. My one's usually around like 5'5", so I do that arm span a little bit extra for if my leader line gets roughed up or I like change flies, so it'll still be in that 5 foot range.
Okay. For you?
Hammer bomb and bubble float, 1 arm span. If I'm using lead or a sinking hammer bomb, I go 2 arm spans.
Okay, so you have 3 of us answering the question in the same manner. Papio fishing, bubble, hammer bomb, arm span. Use your arm span. Okay? And I think that's pretty much general consensus. That should be the final answer on that question. Everybody always asking. Arm span. I think I'm comfortable from now on when somebody asks that question again, use your arm span. Give a thumbs up right now if you guys agree with that. Somebody asked a question. I'm not going to read it out loud because you kind of killing my secrets. Cross Daniel, yes. That's the question. Yes, we have thought about it, and hopefully we're going to try it. Okay, what kind of personal fishing superstitions do you guys secretly believe in? Wallace?
I'm the wrong guy. I absolutely believe in no superstitions.
Okay.
I've caught ulua with my headlamp on all night. I've done the banana thing. But there are certain places on the island that I do respect because of my Hawaiian blood. That's different from superstition. Certain places on the island, when I do fish, I'll say a prayer and I will take a little offering. But as far as these standard superstitions that everyone talks about, I don't believe in it. But I am respectful. If I'm around anybody that's fishing at night, my headlamp will be off.
Oh, okay.
You?
One of them is kind of weird, but so if you're wearing a shirt, make believe you get one like omilu on top. you probably gonna have one better chance of catching one omilu. Like no joke. Like, when I used to go fish with my friends, I was wearing one Olua shirt, and then the Olua went bite.
Huh?
And the next time we went, when I had the omilu shirt on, the omilu went bite. And then another one would be probably like, don't say like, yeah, I'm gonna catch blah 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 whatever fish, cause I don't know, the
Jinx
fish
right
just
there.
don't bite after.
Yeah. I don't know, for me, like, superstition wise, I always say, if the ocean provides, like, whatever it provides for you that day, once you got it and it's in your hands, whether you choose to let it go or whether you plan on keeping something, I always realize as soon as the ocean provides something, like, a lot of times that's it for me. Like, that's it. I'm not going to continue fishing unless the fish is too small and it's not enough. But if it's enough for a meal, usually that's the reason why I'm going to keep it, and I stop. And I've always gotten in trouble when I didn't stop. And when I mean in trouble, shitty things have happened after that, like kayak issues or just never catch nothing. The ocean provides, I receive, and I'm done. Like, a lot of times I'll go fishing 5 minutes, wrap it up because I already caught something. That's all I needed. I'm not just there for killing time. I'm there to catch food to eat. The ocean gave me the food, and I'm done. That's kind of my little superstition. All right. Let's see. Jordan, by the way, Jordan says the same exact thing. We don't even need to repeat it. Okay. Thoughts on bait casters in saltwater? I'm going to give my input right now. You guys can give yours right after. Look, if you guys want to sample a bait caster rod and reel, when I say bait caster rod and reel, I'm talking about the bass conventional little flipping baits out. If you guys want to try it, don't ask anybody. Just go for it. All right? Does it work? Yes. Does it work as good as a spinner? No. If you want to try it, don't ask anybody. Just go for it. Okay? It doesn't work as well as a spinner. It might, for you, it might be what you're used to casting, but a bait caster's will work. It requires a little more expertise than a spinner. But, like, stop asking. Just go for it. Like, that's my thing. If that's all you got, run them. Any thoughts on that?
It might not last as long as a spinner, and you're probably not gonna get as far as a cast.
You're not gonna get as far as a cast.
Huh? I could hear the guy. I can get one far cast with one cat. I've been catching bass since I was 6 years
I'd
old.
like to see anybody with a bass-sized bait caster outcast me with my Stratic. I'd like to see that.
I think we've had that challenge issue before.
He's
It ain't
betting a
happening.
Stella on it.
But there are some guys in the state will use the bigger bait casters like the Tranks and stuff to throw lures on. If you guys know who Nate is on the Big Island, those who know. He's caught numerous lures on a size 400 bait casting, but it's more like a jig master.
He's throwing big poppers, right?
Yeah, he's showing big poppers. He's catch a lure, moi. So it will get the job done, but is it as efficient as a spinner? I personally don't think so.
Okay, any suggestions on plugs, colors, time of day, etc.? Go ahead, Wallace. General.
Overcast days, cloudy, dirty water, blacks, clean water, sunny days, transparent, silver, UV. You can throw in those weird off-the-shelf kind of bright colors like chartreuse, yellow, reds, but that's more specific. I use those in the morning during sunrise to try and target Roy, but it's either usually a black or a clear transparent with flakes.
Do you plug enough to offer any?
Probably. If you're using like a topwater lure, like I don't think the color matters too much. Like how much are they really seeing of the lure? That's why it's more of the profile in the water. But I throw basically anything that's like silver, blue, flashy stuff.
Yeah, and my like a lot of times people, you already just spent a whole bunch of money on your plugging setup, and I'm assuming that's what you're meaning, Tony, because I think you just picked up a plugging rod and a reel that might be able to use for that. If you're just starting out on a budget, you don't have the money to buy a whole bunch of spreads of stuff. Get yourself a black kaku, wood popper, or stick bait, either one, and that's going to be good enough. All right. And if you're looking for best time of the day, sunrise, sunset. Sunrise, sunset. It's the time when the most fish are active. A black kaku lure matched to your rod. Sunrise, sunset, good to go. All right.
The black anti-Sharon has caught me so much papios. It's
Yeah. All right. I think I saw another question. Let's see. Okay, I have a Penn SS650 reel, 25-pound test line. What length rod would be good for dunking? I would say 9 foot to 10 foot.
9 to 10, yeah.
9 to 10 foot. Michael Okuda. You can check out the Shimano Speedmasters, rated for retail for about $160, or if you're on even more of a budget, the Daiwa Beef Stick 9 foot or 10 foot would be a good pair for that SS650. All right, and if you ever need parts for that, check out penparts.com. I tell you, I should be sponsored by them.
AKA Mystic Parts.
Okay. All right. Oh, you know, Hawaiian Levia makes a very good point. Have faith in what you're throwing. Don't switch it up too fast. And that not necessarily just applies to plugs. It applies to grubs. People, you know, the people are always talking about this. You got to catch the fisherman before you catch the fish. Like when you're making lures and stuff, you have to catch the fisherman. And it's just like, you know, what might catch the fisherman may not be the best ideal color for every situation. So it seems like, oh, that's kind of a messed up thing. But if you put somebody who has faith in what they're casting, meaning like, oh, this next cast gonna be it, this next cast gonna be it, versus somebody like, I don't know if this is gonna work, 4 casts and they're done. If you have somebody who's excited about, pumped up, or has faith in what they're casting, that is going to be the lure that catches more stuff than one just like 2 casts and done. You know, you gotta, like you say, you gotta have faith in it, and that's kind of like what our job is to when we're making lures, to make something that people are going to be excited and have faith that will catch something. So that's kind of thing. Thanks for saying that, Jordan. It's really cool.
A lot of people forget that Papio and jacks in general, they're aggressive predators and they're territorial.
Yeah.
If they're hungry, they're gonna basically eat anything they think they can put in their stomach. You can probably throw a stick and catch a papio.
Papios are dumb.
Yeah, I would say
They're very dumb.
I'm not afraid of offending any papios because they're too stupid to understand what I'm saying. But papios are dumb, okay? And you guys give them way too much credit.
Yeah.
Main thing is you just gotta get stuff in the water. Somebody asked, how do you catch a papio? Get bait in the water, get a lure in the water, and if they're there, they're there. If they're not there, not there.
Yep.
You know?
they're pretty fearless. Yeah, they'll come right up to the shore, look at you like, you can't catch me. Throw you bait in the water 10 minutes later.
You can hook a
pull 'em
4-pound
off.
papio, and if there's a bigger ulu around, the bigger ulu is going to try and swallow it.
Swallow
For sure,
the ulu.
100%.
Wait, what did you just say? Somebody said yes, boy.
Oh, that's my friend.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Sup, Sean?
Papio bite the same lures, the same size as that. Okay. All right. We're just gonna be wrapping this up pretty quickly. So if you guys got any more questions, go ahead and shoot them. We'll give you a few more minutes. B-Rad says, any tips for shore jigging? I've never really shore jigged unless you count throwing a Castmaster, which pretty much is shore jigging.
If you're fishing in an area that has any rocks at all, I would highly advise taking the treble hook off the bottom of the jig if it comes like that. And slow fall jigs will probably be your best bet. A lot of the reef fish near shore will bite on the drop versus the jerk. Slow falls will give you the best chance, in my opinion, because they take longer to reach the bottom. As soon as they hit the bottom, you're cranking it up and letting it fall again. You definitely want to stay away from the fast drop ones, longer vertical ones. You probably want to stay in the range of 20 to 50 grams at most, but slow falls is where it's going to be at.
Any input on shore jigging?
I haven't had much success with it, so no.
Same here. I haven't really tried it too much, unless otherwise just basically casting Castmasters. Some great jigs. I've just used them off the kayak for just dropping to the bottom, kind of jerking up. All right, what is your go-to brand of braided line? Before, started with Power Pro. Then I went from Shoreline stuff. I worked my way up to J Braid. Now I use Tightline. Tightline is probably the best braided line I've used so far. Okay. What's your go-to?
Whipping, I like the Tightline braid now. I used to use YGK. For my lure fishing, I use Taze Line or Saltiga 12. You gotta have some wallet space to buy those lines. They're about between $80 and $140 for a 30-meter spool. But the tight lines, it seems really good. It'll cover everything from their 8-pound line all the way up to their 100-pound line. Plugging, jigging, nice and smooth, nice and round. It casts really good. It holds an FG knot really well too.
Yeah, it's pretty much hard to beat right now, or at least for US market wise.
Yeah.
Just save up that little extra money and spend a little bit more.
So, in case you guys don't know, Tightline braid is made in Texas. It's something that we carry. We brought in to sample it. I brought in line, and I don't whip enough to be picky about the line, or actually to put the line to test. So I got this into hands of people that I know that, number one, were really freaking picky. Like, they've complained to me about other line. So they were the first people that I went to and said, could you please try this out and give me your feedback? Because I knew they wouldn't BS me. And I gave them to about 3 or 4 different people, and all of them came back just positive, glowing reviews of it, saying that it worked just how they wanted it to. Price was substantially cheaper than the higher end lines that they've been used to buying. And not only did they give me high praise, a lot of them, with no freebies or no discounts applied, respooled most of their reels with that line. So that to me was a good sign that I think Tightline braid and the way that they make their braid, they're on to something, because they went back to that old school, very hands-on, people that know what they're doing are running those machines, making the line, and going that little bit extra mile that might make it more expensive, but in the long run, a much better product. So Tightline braid, if you're looking for a premium braid, is available on highfishgear.com. All right?
I respooled all my reels with Tightline braid.
And I have, I think there's only one reel I have left that I need to respool it, but that's just because I had just spooled it with 40-pound J braid, and I'm cheap. I don't want to. That's a brand new spool, even though I want to run Tightline on all my reels, so I can say that it's a brand new spool. I'm not gonna. I don't like waste money, unless something breaks, then I can change out the whole thing. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed our little video today. Next week, Saturday, by the way, we're doing a garage, not a garage show, swap meet outside of our shop. If you guys, this is 1 week from today, November 19th. If you guys are watching, and you guys, I'm looking more for sellers. I'm looking for sellers because people gonna come no matter what. I'm looking for sellers. If you or a friend of yours or something has a bunch of tackle that you want to dump one time and get a pretty good price, get together, get a table. You can send one person down if the other guys know what time. Just have everything tagged with the prices. We got good customers that come through and check out things, especially when we're promoting it. So the HFG swap meet, hopefully we're going to make it a several times a year event where you can come in, you can buy a table, you can sell your stuff that you make yourself, stuff that you have left over, stuff that you have extra, stuff that you don't use anymore. Get rid of it one time, come down, meet some great people too. A lot of times people are just talking story and having a good time meeting other people from the fishing community. So it's a nice meet and greet. November 19th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here outside of the shop. We're going to move some cars around. We're going to have extra parking behind the building. Good parking here in Evel Beach, by the way. And then also, if you guys come down with stuff that you couldn't get rid of, I will be doing live auctions at 1 o'clock. You bring it all down to the table. I'll do a live auction. If you just want to get rid of it, dollar. Anybody, $1, $2, $3. You know, okay, sold. Make it real quick. Get things in and out. And then we'll also be doing a live auction at 2 o'clock with whatever your high-end stuff. It should be fun. Nice in-person event. Next week, Saturday. Mahalo once again, guys, for joining.
Yep.
Making the time. You're here and you're getting paid. So, yay! We'll see you guys next time. If you guys like this kind of video, like it. Leave a comment. If you're on YouTube and you like this conversation, make sure you subscribe. And we will see you guys next time. Aloha. Let me end this one first.